You are tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon at bringingdowntheband.com and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, and Printfinity. Support the New Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/New Old Heads.
Episode 77, the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. I make beats. I got the hard drive to prove it. I'm not going to even say the smoke part. The hard drive takes care of that for me.
But you said it, though.
It's not the smoke part, man. Stop, man. Are we going to start? Is this how we going to do it? Lonegevity in front of me as always. I don't know why he took his headphones off, but he is the maestro. Is what I call him. Hello, sir.
Hello.
You good on your headphones?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Scared me a little bit. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Once again, he is good. He's
yeah.
Okay.
Feeling good, feeling great.
triplicate.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Triplicate.
Moving to the left as always. Fresh off the Pacers victory. You know what I'm saying? He had to rub it in. I can't say nothing. Shout out to Victor Oladipo taking care of that business. They are up 1-0 over my Cavaliers, but there's more games to be played. Fresh to death as always, DJ Jay Diff.
Salutations.
What's going on, my brother?
I'm great. How do you feel?
We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah?
That's pretty much all I got for you.
Tomorrow's what's going to decide how you feel.
I will go on record. If the Cavs lose tomorrow, it's a wrap. Pacers will be moving on.
You heard it here first.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, you can quote me on that. They will lose the series if the Pacers win tomorrow.
You know what? It's funny because I said the Pacers are going to get swept.
Wednesday.
I would have never believed that because they pretty much beat the brakes off the Cavs throughout the course of the year. Vic is putting boys on notice.
Yeah.
I actually like Vic for the city. I never thought I'd say this because Paul George is like my second favorite player in the league, but I think Vic is going to. I don't know. It seems like he fits this city well, man. Like the IU connection. Maybe it's that. I don't know, but
he wants to be here.
He wants to be here. He embraces being here.
Does he really? We haven't really heard. He's in a position where he really can't make any decisions.
No, he wants to be here.
I think he want to be here, man.
He wrote a whole story like maybe 2 days ago that was published
about being
pretty
here.
much how he wants to be here. He likes the environment.
Word.
And he said if Indiana embraces you, then it's a wrap pretty much.
That's what's up.
And that's what he's told.
He definitely
Porzingis.
knows. He definitely knows about that playing at IU. So I appreciate Vic, man. I'm actually becoming a big fan of his. So shout out to Victor Oladipo. I don't need you to play that well tomorrow though. To my immediate left, the voice of Indianapolis, Mr. Wavy light skinned girls be loving me now. They do. I've seen it happen. Jay Moore is in the building.
How's it going?
It's going well, sir.
Okay, I like to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you just accepting everything now. Was that me?
Oh.
Immediately.
What, Terry?
How many times?
What, man?
How many times?
How many times?
How many times?
All of them was mine last week, right? All of them was mine last week.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Y'all cyber bullies, man. Straight up.
How we cyber bullies? You're sitting
We on
right
the
here.
internet,
Yeah.
man. We on the internet, man. And
He
now-
called me a cyber bully last week,
And it was
I
funny.
was sitting right here.
Right
as
here.
well.
now-
Cyberbullying means something else.
And now you got Red August giggling. Shout out to Red August in the back, giggling and on-site producing as well.
Just to
Second
preface
camera.
this, though, Jay Moore literally said 3 times, everybody's phone's on silent, right?
Yeah.
I'd have probably missed the first two.
Did you? Because you responded.
Yeah, you
And
did.
I
Did
think
the first one, did I respond?
Yeah, you did.
I don't know if it was the second two. I probably missed the second two.
Yeah.
It's all good, man.
Is
we
it?
we all friends, right?
Yeah, we're friends.
Despite our cyberbullying
Yeah, man.
that
Y'all
we do in person.
Y'all got to stop that. Y'all setting bad examples.
Let's do a poll. Are we really cyberbullying?
Please, let's check in. Please let us know how
Or
that
is this
goes.
Let
just
us
lack
know.
of accountability?
Let us know.
I've had a couple people come up to me and be like, "Man, why you let them do you like that?" I said, "Man,
No, you don't.
you know me. I'm all about."
I've
being
had a few
positive.
people come up to me and be like, "Hey, y'all be doing right. Keep doing that." Yeah,
I'm sure you have.
yeah.
you probably move in them circles. I feel you. That's all good, man. Episode 77. I have no number. You said Rofe.
I said William Rowe,
William Rofe.
offensive tackle,
For
I
the,
believe.
New Orleans
Okay.
Saints.
Saints and then the Chiefs. He finished his career.
Okay.
You know,
Hall of Famer.
I don't know. Probably.
Okay.
For being on an offensive line, it's
Yeah.
really
I feel
subjective
you.
as far as who gets into the Hall of Fame. Like
Yeah.
you really have to be one of those people that because there's no real number
Yeah.
associated with your stats. It's just
Facts.
hey,
You either were good enough or you weren't.
either you had a running back that was getting through those holes, or you made sure that your quarterback stayed upright. So it really just it does depend on.
Probably a lot of Cowboys in the Hall of Fame. They had a cold offensive line in the 90s.
That line that blocked for Emmett was.
Can
you imagine Barry Sanders had that line?
Man.
Lord have mercy. That's my favorite running back, by the way.
Shouts to Nate Newton.
Man, Nate Newton. Who else had Larry Allen?
Larry Allen.
Yeah, they had. I mean, they got a beast of a line right now. I don't follow the Cowboys like that, but they put in that work.
There we go.
They can't get anything else done, but the line does put in that work.
Jerry Jones he keeps selling tickets though. So
yeah,
Jerry's world is always filled up.
$1 billion stadium. Got to do
sir.
something.
So I want to go ahead and jump in. This is via CNN. I'm sure everybody. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm sure everybody has, but the Starbucks video that is going viral about the gentlemen that were waiting on their friend to show up. I guess they were kind of kicking it in the Starbucks, and the police were called on them as the gentleman that they were waiting on arrived. Like I said, this is from CNN. It says a viral video of 2 black men being arrested at a Philadelphia Starbucks. Let's see what else it says. It says 3 very different responses from the police, the company, and the community members. In the video, which was posted by posted to Twitter Thursday by a Philadelphia resident. Her name is Melissa DePino. Two black men can be seen being escorted out of the coffee shop in handcuffs. Customers can be seen and heard yelling at the officers that the men were doing them wrong. The chief of police said our officers did nothing wrong for Philadelphia. Ms. DePino also said the police were called because the men hadn't ordered anything. They were waiting for a friend to show up who did, as they were taken out in handcuffs for doing nothing. So
the friend did show up.
Yeah, he showed up. And if
he's actually on tape.
Yeah, he's on the tape. If you actually watch it, he shows up and he's talking to the police officers.
I haven't seen the video.
And he's like, "What did they do? What's going on here?" And this is as they're walking by him, talking to the police officer. So I saw a lot of feedback in terms of people talking about Starbucks, like, should we boycott Starbucks? And this, the African American community. I don't really go to Starbucks like that. I know we kind of tossed this around prior to going on, but I want to come to Jay Diff first. What's your take on the gentleman being, taken out, escorted out by the police for really just kind of sitting in there, waiting on their friend to show up? I understand that they were told to leave, but they decided to just kind of wait around for the friend to show up.
First off, I think that's whack.
Okay.
Like, everybody in here goes to Starbucks as a meeting place of some kind. I'm sure everybody's done that.
Sure,
You know what I'm saying? And did not buy a single cup of coffee.
Sure.
I'm guilty of it.
Yep.
Everybody's done that. I don't see why they would have to purchase something just to be sitting in there waiting for someone. I mean, what if they were going to buy something once this person arrived?
Right.
You can't make me purchase something just for sitting here.
Right.
It's a public place at the end of the day.
Because what if he doesn't show up?
Right.
Then why would you want to stay?
Exactly.
I agree.
I think the establishment, the management is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be checked.
And they have.
Yep, they have. I think the manager was actually fired. But I don't see a reason to boycott Starbucks based on that, me personally. Again, I don't really frequent Starbucks like that. I go every once in a while.
Yeah,
I might get a caramel macchiato or something like that.
Those are very good. By
they
the way,
are. They're tasty.
Yeah,
but I don't see that as one establishment being wrong, being a reason to boycott the whole brand.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's like say there was more than one Decademics. Like Decademics was across the country.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
for those of you who don't know, that's a DJ school here in the city
right.
of Indianapolis.
Let's say at one of the Decademic schools, they decided they didn't want to let this person get classes.
Okay.
But that was just that location. So that doesn't mean you boycott all of them because the ones at that location aren't on their P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see a reason for boycotting Starbucks coffee based on that incident. Like I said, what happened was whack, but
jump in, Lone.
No, I pretty much agree. I think they could have moved quicker with the firing and with what Starbucks did, but
right.
It's a big organization too at the same time. So I'm guessing from what I saw. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they evaluated it, and then they came to a conclusion, and they fired the person, and now they're having mandatory, well, what do we call it today?
Racial something.
Racial sensitivity
Racial
training.
sensitivity
or something.
training. They're going to basically shut every store down.
I got something from CNN Money on that. It says Starbucks says it will close. It's 8,000 company-owned stores in the United States for one afternoon to educate employees about racial bias.
Racial bias.
Yeah, the comment follows the uproar over the video, obviously, that we just talked about. Store manager calling the police. The racial bias training will be provided on May 29th, and this is going to affect about 175,000 workers. So,
guess who's going to be mad about them being closed, though?
Who is that?
Some other type of people.
Correct. I want to come to you, Jay, more on this one in terms of them going through the training.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't believe this training is going to be sufficient enough to make an immediate change. They're going to get together, provide food, sit around for a little bit, talk about a couple things, and keep it moving. I don't see this being any type of substantial learning or any type of informative information. To that, you say what?
I don't see it. I mean, it's a good start, and I think it's a nice enough gesture. But let's just kind of take this into another place. I mean, we still want to talk about the particular incident, but this is not a Starbucks problem.
Right.
This is an American problem when we're talking about how black bodies are seen in public spaces as opposed to other bodies, if you will.
Facts.
You know, and there's this whole situation now where if you think about some of these police shootings that have happened within the last few years and how it's seen when people call the police and there's no attempt to de-escalate situations.
Right.
You know, because, okay, say the police when you call the police, you got to understand they're in a position to do something. But, you know, when it's concerning African Americans in this country, it's not always to de-escalate the situation. You know, there could have been just a quick discussion. It's like, hey, you know, we had the call about disturbance, and it's like, hey, you know, we're just sitting here waiting on a friend. Like there wasn't a discussion. It was like, let's put these guys in handcuffs. And when people say, oh, you know, it wasn't a big deal, they weren't charged with anything, let me tell you something. They were in jail for 9 hours.
So they're in the system.
They're in the system now.
They are in the system.
And it costs money even to you know, because for certain jobs and certain things, you know, even if you weren't charged with anything, you know, you have to get certain security clearances, and just being arrested is enough for you to be denied certain things, you know, as long as that record is out there, even if you aren't charged or convicted of anything. So I just want, one of the things, and if they don't speak about this, like we have to, you know, you have to be wary of calling the police to intervene in certain situations because,
For sure.
like I said, instead of saying, hey guys, you know, we had a complaint, let's just kind of take this outside and talk about it. There was none of that. Let's just put these guys in handcuffs. And to their, you know, honestly, they took it a lot better than I would have.
See, and that's my thing. I want to interject here real quick with that, because I'm like, I want to come back to you, Jay Diff, on this one real quick. In terms of how those gentlemen were taken out and walked out, to his point, where he talked about, you know, how calm they walked out, because I didn't see any. They didn't fight back. There was nothing in support. None of that. They just kind of just got walked out. Like, if you put yourself in that position, right? We're just going to do the hypothetical. And you know that you really just were there waiting on loan to show up, right? Like, what would your response be to that? Do you think it would be just as easy as those gentlemen left, or would you try to have a conversation with the police officers en route to going out? Like, I know it's kind of a weird question, but I'm always curious to see how people would think they would react based off that.
It kind of depends, because in today's climate, like he was saying, being black in America,
right,
under those certain type of circumstances, if you're being arrested for something,
yep,
I've seen people die for less just from getting arrested.
Facts.
So all of that can be going through your mind at the same time. So do I want to resist? Do I want to chance what this police officer is on today? Are there enough cameras rolling? Is the camera rolling going to even matter if something happens to me? I mean, there's a lot of things that can go on in that scenario. So, I mean, I can't really say how I would have reacted.
Right.
I can say in similar instances when I've been confronted by police, I have been vocal.
Okay.
And have been threatened for being vocal.
Right.
Because a lot of times if you talk to them with some sense, it's almost like a deterrent for them. It makes them even more upset with you.
It's like they want you to be outlandish. They want you to be, talk louder or try to push.
Or
it.
Even if you're talking loud and you're, like I said, you're talking to them in a manner of, and everything you're saying makes sense.
Right.
They don't like that.
Right.
So.
Oh, certainly not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a catch-22. I don't know how I would have reacted.
Well, no, it's just because, like I said, I admire these men's patience and their resolve because, to not even ask, why am I being arrested? What is the charge? Yep. Because the thing is, even saying that is enough, for them to charge you with resisting arrest. Because if you think about it, resisting arrest is not even a charge that actually makes sense, because if you're being unlawfully detained and you want to know, hey, what is really the charge here? I'm not going to stand up and submit to you putting me in handcuffs, if you're not even going to explain to me what the issue is here.
Right.
Yep. And there's your charge.
That's enough.
I've seen that in person.
Because if someone is booked and resisting arrest is the only charge, I almost think that should be thrown out in every circumstance, because it's like, wait a minute, there was no other crime being committed, so what did you? So they had the right to resist arrest. So it's just a thing. If they're not going to talk about how calling the police in this climate, 2018, could result in something like this, because just think about it. Had that, because let's be honest, one of the things in the times I've been to Starbucks, I've seen people in there writing entire papers, just reading books,
hours though,
meeting friends.
Hours though.
Like, part of the culture of Starbucks is essentially people loitering.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, now you have a situation to where people feel like, well, if these people are loitering here and they're not ordering anything, because if I'm waiting on my friend, I'm not just going to order something before he gets here.
Right.
Like, I'm being just like when I go to a restaurant and sit down,
you're waiting,
and say I'm waiting on Mike to get there. If it's the three of us, we're not just going to start ordering food.
Right.
And it's just the whole thing of, how dare you be here in this space? Just your presence makes me uncomfortable, and it doesn't help that, while this is going on, there's another incident in California where, of course, this is the thing with social media and cameras, where guy asked for, he's getting ready to wait for a friend. He asked for the code to go to the bathroom. The woman says, no, you haven't ordered anything.
Yep.
She sees a white guy come out of the bathroom. He hasn't ordered anything either. So the thing is, that lack of sensitivity, this is the thing. Maybe this is the only thing that'll make them wake up, because now you're going to lose an entire day of revenue, even if it's just 4 hours, because one of your employees could not deal with the fact that there were two African-American gentlemen waiting on a friend.
I don't care what you say. That hurts the bottom line.
But they ain't tripping, though, because they have money and stuff put away for incidents just like this. This is a PR move.
See, that's
it's always going to be a PR move.
That's the way I take it.
It's always going to be a PR move.
That's the way I take it. Jump in, Lone. You said
it goes back to what Jay Moore said. This whole scenario touches more so on America than it does Starbucks to me.
Right.
It's the fear of, or just the bias in general that many white Americans have.
It goes back to, if anybody remembers the story of John Crawford. He was in a Walmart. He was in the aisle where they have the air rifles.
And he's on the phone.
So on the phone, somebody calls and says there's a black man walking around here. There's nothing on videotape. And the thing is, he's looking at an air rifle. That's one of the items that Walmart sells. And that was enough. That person being uncomfortable from afar was in saying there's a black man here with a gun. That's enough to have the police come in, kill someone.
Ask no questions.
Not try to de-escalate the situation. And he's dead. None of the officers were charged. The only person who was charged was the person who called the police. You know, and even after it happened, because, you know, the police wanted to try to cover themselves a little bit, they took his girlfriend in for interrogation to, you know, try to see if he was some sort of criminal and they could somehow find a way to sully his name, if you will.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and so these are the things that happen, unfortunately, when you have black people in public spaces and there are just people who are uncomfortable even when we're not doing anything. Sitting down waiting on a friend.
It's so
shopping. That's enough for someone to say, hey, I think this black guy could be doing something. Get the police down here. And when you do that, there's I'm not going to say in every, because I don't want to paint anyone with a broad brush. I don't, because we have a lot of discussions on this show about the police and their conduct. I understand it's not every single time, but you know what? It seems to be more than it probably should be based on the proportionality of African Americans in this country to where violence is the end result of something that could be just de-escalated.
I mean, it's the institution, though. I mean, it's the institution of policing in general. So even if there aren't bad police officers, which we could all have our own opinion on that, at the end of the day, we're all still, or they're called to do a job.
Yep.
And so, like, even in this Starbucks incident, you call them, it starts with just people being afraid. People being afraid, or maybe just harvesting whatever type of racial whatever bias towards these gentlemen.
Bias is the word.
But it goes from it just keeps going. So it goes from there, and then it goes to the police system, right? So then you got the police there. Then you got it's just a big.
It's crazy how much of an example this is for what, to your point, what's going on across the world, period. Like, it's a different form because it's at the Starbucks and all that. But to his point about the system, the same principles apply. He just talked about bias. He just talked about the police.
It's everything we always talk about anytime we ever talk about this. It's the same thing.
It's the exact same
same formula every time.
Yep.
So, you know.
I mean, it is what it is. It's one of those situations where, unfortunately, we try not to, harp on certain topics, but things continue to present themselves because I feel like there's always something else that continues to pop up. But on this one, I think this one will be open and shut. They'll go ahead and do their training class, whatever, and then get right back to business. So
then we'll see something else pop up.
And then we'll see something else pop up. But
like,
I want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you see the video where the white woman in her 70s was attacking the pregnant black military officer?
I heard about it. I didn't see the video. Did you? Are you guys? What happened with that one? I didn't get to see the whole video.
Evidently, there was a parking spot outside that the two ladies that were in the military parked in. The lady didn't like that they parked in the parking spot or something.
She's an
older lady,
Caucasian white lady, right? Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Just
so
for the
she
record.
came in,
and her son.
Okay.
Yeah, and her son. She came in where were they, at a restaurant or something?
I'm not sure where they were.
No, it looked like they were, just at a restaurant.
Like a restaurant or something like that. Okay. So they came in there and confronted these two ladies. The son is calling the two soldiers gay black women or whatever.
You're putting it very nicely.
Yeah,
I am.
I am. Yeah.
So that happened. They're recording them while
Okay.
they're doing this, along with some other people in the restaurant too.
They being the young man and
the two officers, the two military officers.
Okay.
Now,
We're
mind you,
recording the incident.
it's not. We're not finding this out later that they're in the military. They have on.
They have on their uniforms.
Fatigues.
They have on their
they got the
fatigues.
fatigues on.
One of
Okay.
them is pregnant, so she's telling them, "I am pregnant." You know what I'm saying? One of the reasons why I park where I parked.
Yep.
And the lady was like, "Well, my husband is handicapped." The husband was nowhere to be found.
Husband wasn't there.
So what does that have to do with it?
Nothing.
So she's pretty much shoving through. They're trying to take their phones from them. The son reaches and tries to grab it. And then a couple people in the restaurant kind of erupt and he kind of pulls back. But the lady is still going after them. So
Right.
this is inside the restaurant. Evidently, when they got outside the restaurant, there was still commotion going on.
Okay.
And police were called and the lady was then arrested. Yeah, so
Something tells me that this woman and her son were the kind of people who were very upset that Colin Kaepernick was disrespecting the military.
definitely.
Perhaps.
But, this is how they really feel about the military, or at least certain people who are in the military.
Perhaps.
And they actually tried to alter the story, but the phones were out, so they were able to see exactly what happened. That's the reason why she ended up getting arrested.
Shout out to the soldiers having the mind to actually record everything.
But shouts to the other people.
Yeah, the other people was actually the
even
the
with the
proof
Starbucks.
Yeah, I
even
think
the
that's
Starbucks thing.
I think that's one thing that we
got
kind
you.
of glossed over
I got
is
you.
how during the Starbucks situation, there are all these white people standing around like they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
This is wrong.
The realtor that they were meeting was a white guy. He's the one that's like, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all? He even was like, are y'all arresting them because they're black and they're here waiting?
Oh,
he
that's
said
what the
that to
realtor
him.
said
So
when he
it's-
came
the
up?
guy,
Yeah.
the guy who was actually meeting the two gentlemen came in and said that.
Wow.
So I think a lot
But
of
that's
times
important. I think that's
when we have these
That's
conversations and people are, because I do feel like there's a lot of white people who feel like I just don't know what to do. Like how am I supposed to feel about this sort of thing? What can I do to help? If you see it and because a lot of times I don't think white people get it until the first time they're like, oh, this is real.
yeah, it hits them.
And they're like, oh, this racism that black people talk about on TV is a real thing.
Yep.
It didn't actually end in 1964 like some people would have you to believe.
Yeah.
And I think there has to be a situation. There has to be, a mindset for quote unquote white allies. I kind of hate that term. That if you see something like this, you have to call it out too. Just don't stand idly by. If you see something that's clearly racist, if you see something that's clearly a situation where someone is just not treating your friend or neighbor the way they should be treated, you have to think about it like that. Don't think about it. Of course, you're experiencing racism firsthand, but you have to be in a mindset to think, you know what, this is somebody that just on a human level is not doing anything wrong, and they're being mistreated because of the color of their skin.
Shout out to the people in that restaurant that actually, saw something being wrong, that was being done that was wrong, and reacted to it like you normally do when you see something.
I mean, they
wrong.
could have knocked that old lady out.
That's a fact. But we'll see, man. Like to Lone's point, a lot of this stuff is going to resurface, and these things continue to happen. So,
But even both those scenarios is the same type of thing.
It's
Once
the-
again,
it's the same principle.
and I know
It's the exact same
we got to
principle.
move on, but just once again, you see that this is kind of the thing that being an African American, you almost have to always be the bigger person, because if you wallow in the mud with the racists, then when the police show up, all they're going to see is a black person punching a white person in the face,
Period.
and who's going to jail.
we already know the end of that story. I got pulled over actually before we go to the next topic. I got pulled over last night. Tail light situation. Officer was real nice. He said, "Look, man, because I got an accident." He was like, "Hey, I see you got beat up here. Look, just try to get it fixed when you can. If they pull you over, just show them that I gave you this warning, and that'll buy you some time to go try to get it fixed. Like, you should be good. Good luck with everything. I hate that he hit you." I'm like, "Man, I appreciate that. Thank you." He was very polite, very nice, very quick, no nonsense.
And that's a lot. That's so many interactions with the police.
That does happen.
But unfortunately, but I can't. But it's just like anything else. When you do what you're supposed to do, yeah, good job.
Yep.
But when you're doing what you're not supposed to do, I can't let you off the hook for it.
Facts. Kendrick Lamar, damn. And we talked about how to say it. I'm gonna say Pulitzer.
I'm gonna say Pulitzer.
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 What about
Tomato.
what about Pulitzer?
Pulitzer.
Oh, see, and he threw
I
something
like
else
that.
in
I
there.
like Pulitzer.
Change the
Pulitzer.
syllables.
Okay.
Change the syllables.
Pulitzer. So you want to put an emphasis on the zer?
Pulitzer.
Pulitzer.
Oh, you trying
Wrong emphasis on the syllable.
Look,
Right.
man. Anyway, shout out to K-Dot.
Dead out of order.
He is. It was announced as a recipient for that prestigious award on Monday. That's history making too, because
It is.
he's the first rap artist.
He's the
Damn.
first artist
Damn?
outside of jazz
Or
and
classical
classical
music
music
to ever get this award.
to ever get that award.
Now, to put that, like, we don't have to put it in perspective. It speaks for itself. But if you think about it, man, Kendrick has really blazed a path from around Section 80 up until now.
People would say it's Photoshop.
Oh, okay, I feel you. I like that though. I see what you did there. If you think about it, man, he's set the standard for. There's a standard of excellence that comes with anything that Kendrick comes out, even with the Black Panther soundtrack, which I thought was dope. It had some dope records on there, but I'm like, yo, I expect that to be cold because his name is attached to it now. Like that's where I'm at with Kendrick. Like I have a level of standard that I have to hold him accountable for. And when I heard this one, I was like, yo, this is very, very, very groundbreaking. And it's really, really dope for hip hop to have him get that. Because
Early in his career.
Very early in his career. And it balances it out for me because I used to be the person where I would be like, I used to harp on trash. Oh, it's trash. Everything's trash. Now I comment here and there, but I don't give it as much energy as I would, we'll say 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it also shows that there is still dope music that's out there that's getting recognized. It might not be recognized from the radio. It might not be recognized from whatever you want to call it. What's popping? We don't care about any of that. It's just dope that he's actually getting that look. And I think this is going to go a long way hip-hop wise. I think it's amazing. I think
it's amazing from a musical point of view, period.
Period.
Not even just saying hip hop, because like we just mentioned, jazz and classical music are the only two musical genres where artists have received that award.
Right.
So it's bigger than hip hop.
Fair. That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It just goes to show his musicianship, his pen. You know, he's dope as far as that's concerned.
Right.
Now the question is, does this catapult him to a level to where people would consider him the greatest MC based off of that?
I don't think.
No.
I don't think. This
I'll just
is
say it right now. No.
No, I don't see, because this is not going to be by the masses. I don't think this is going to be received like we're receiving it. I think people are like, "Oh man, it's just an award. Go look at the stuff." But I want the numbers though. Who's selling the most? Like that's the era that we live in. Who's moving the units?
When you think about like a hip hop snob though,
okay,
somebody that thinks they're musically inclined.
We know a lot of those,
right? And they would use this as a vehicle to propel him to the top of the food chain,
just based off him winning
based off of that. Because I mean, it was mentioned by some artists, and they didn't win it, like Jay.
Yeah.
Nas.
Yeah.
May have mentioned things like this, but they never won the award.
Okay.
And here you have 𝐀𝐄 early in his career taking home the
Well, I just think
Pulitzer Prize.
I think it's about how the weight that we give to awards. Now, mind you, this is bigger than any Grammy, American Music Award,
no question
Billboard,
about it.
iHeart. You know, you threw all those things in the trash
BET Award,
to
all
get
of that. Yeah.
a Pulitzer Prize, something that no other MC has ever won.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's great, but if they gave him this for Damn, you know, what should they have given him for To Pimp a Butterfly?
That was going to be my point. I think they gave it to him for the wrong album.
Well, that's why I said, oh, for Damn.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Damn is an incredible album, but like I mentioned on the show before, To Pimp a Butterfly is going to be something they're going to study.
I mean, it's in the library.
Next 20 years.
Thanks to
shout out to Ninth Wonder.
Ninth Wonder, right?
Yeah, I would have. I'm with you guys. That's the one for me that if you're going to give it to them about, you know, any album that was a masterpiece. Like, people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that's probably my favorite album that he put out. But from a musical standpoint, production standpoint, sequencing, how it's set up, the skits, everything, that's why I like it. Like, I really, really like that album, from the content to the lyrics, everything. Like, I really, really like that album. That's probably my favorite project that he's put out today.
Yeah, he said that.
For me. I mean,
so yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to take anything away from. I don't want to take anything away from the accolade. Like I said, it's incredible because, you know, there are a lot of rappers, some of our favorites, who can have on the front of their CD Grammy Award winner so and so.
Yeah.
There's nobody who can slap on the front of their CD or album Pulitzer Prize winner.
He's still not as decorated as Monique.
See,
and there we are.
Wow. See,
everything was going. It was just fine.
Listen, my loves, I just want
everything was going just fine.
I love us for real.
Yeah.
Shout out to Leonard, brother Leonard. Man, we were doing so well, man.
We're still going.
Yeah,
we're still doing good.
All good.
That's nothing.
Thank you, man.
Oh, that's nothing, man.
I like Monique, man.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
You know,
I like Monique.
I think the prize, the Pulitzer. The Pulitzer Prize. I think
what
it's
movie are you in? What accent is? What was that?
It's whatever I want it to be.
Okay, excuse me.
I know, right?
Don't laugh, Red August. Stay giggling. Go ahead, man.
I think it's cool, but I kind of echo what Jay says a little bit. It didn't really. I was just like, okay, he won something. That's cool.
Yeah.
He's already been good. Maybe it's just the award stuff just doesn't.
In this
faze
era,
me,
I don't.
I guess
I don't.
Because a Grammy doesn't mean as much as it used to me.
I want
personally.
one.
No,
though.
so
I
to
want
them,
one.
I'll say this. I'll play devil's advocate.
Look
on
out
this.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So as an artist, though,
Okay.
so you've already made it to that pinnacle.
Doesn't mean I don't
You
want
got
one.
the nice house.
Okay.
You got the nice shelves.
Okay.
All you need is some awards to go in that joint.
I mean,
those are talking pieces. So
That
I'm
is
having
a
my
talking
friends
piece.
come over to the house. We're kicking it. Oh yeah, you see the Pulitzer in
Yeah,
there? Yeah,
yeah,
I won
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I got the, I got the Grammy for
all-
damn. I ain't really tripping on these accolades or nothing, but there they are if you want to look at
Hey,
them.
check those out.
Yeah.
Do you want anything to drink?
Yeah.
Just
for
like
sure.
Oh,
It's
I
all-
definitely was stunned if I won this
it
award.
definitely-
No
yeah,
question.
It's all egoic though. At that point,
I like egoic. I
So,
like that.
You gotta have some kind of ego though, a little bit. You gotta have some kind of swag. You gotta
What-
style on somebody.
When you've worked hard to earn that level of success,
Yeah.
you gotta have some swag at some point.
Now, I'm not going to go into the depths of the ego.
Oh, okay.
And my
There
own,
are levels.
and my own personal definition of the ego, but I think it's perfectly capable of not having an ego and feeling confident and happy about accomplishments.
There's a fine line, but I agree with him.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line. But
But
you got to have some swag with it, though. Like,
Got
there's a
to.
way
it's,
to
it's
have
not like
swag.
it's not dope. Like I think it's dope that he won it.
Mhm.
But as a fan, I'm just like, well, I already knew he was dope. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's more to Terry's point. It's that mantelpiece. It's that talking point.
I mean, it is. All those reasons are dope. But when I saw it, I was just like, oh, that's cool. Keep
Yeah.
scrolling. Like maybe it should have hit me. Maybe it
Yeah,
should have
it's-
hit me more. Maybe
it's-
I'm desensitized. Is
you
that
know,
what
it's
it
not
is?
going to make you say, wow,
Perhaps.
I should listen to that. Like, I think part of it comes from a situation where we listen to hip hop. So when we see someone get an award, it doesn't mean anything to us because we already know, okay,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to see Rhapsody win that
Yeah, it's been
Grammy,
dope.
but she's
Yeah.
dope anyway.
She's
I
dope
think-
anyway.
You know, that's
I
not going to
think-
make us think she's
think-
better now.
My Kendrick moment came like a few years ago. When I was,
What was that?
I don't remember when it was exactly, but he put out a project and he was finally like on the radio.
Section 80.
It had to have been Section 80.
Good
like
Kid.
Well,
Section,
he wasn't
No, it was
on
Good
the
Kid,
radio.
Mad
for-
City.
It was
on
Good
Section
Kid.
80.
it might have been
radio.
Good Kid, but
Yeah.
it was in between that time period.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, Kendrick is actually being received by everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and like
Yeah.
He's just
it,
not
it was that
something
moment.
for
I remember the
the
feeling I had.
heads.
I was like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. To me,
Yeah.
that was more
I
important.
witnessed it
than
happen.
that.
I mean, I
It was
know
just
I've
like-
told this story before, but like we were at a concert where Kendrick is opening for Wiz Khalifa and Mac Miller,
Man,
and people are up walking around
talk about times changing.
while Kendrick is on stage. Mind you, this is probably right around the time that Swimming Pools came out. So he was performing a lot of Section 80 stuff,
Yeah.
but like he ended the set with Swimming Pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody had caught on to this yet.
Yeah.
So it was weird being in there and like looking around like, y'all don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all right.
And
Yeah.
then now
And
look
now.
at it. Yeah.
It was
now
just
look at it.
Yeah.
like seeing him like ascend was just like yes.
It's
It was
dope.
like yes. So now he's there. So just kind of like okay, well,
It's
you know.
dope. I think it's dope that we get a chance to see, or we have had a chance to see, from sports to music, whatever, to see certain greats from when they were at that level. You know what I'm saying? To see
Yeah.
them evolve. Like, I remember when Kobe came in league, and to be able
Mm-hmm.
to see his entire career.
Yeah.
You know, people like LeBron. Like, I didn't see all of Mike's career. We caught it in late '80s or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
early
We don't
90s,
care
but-
about them though.
Well,
I mean,
but I'm talking about music. Well, we could do music. Rhapsody. We talked about Rhapsody. She's another one.
But it's,
K-Dot's
I-
one.
but yeah, I know.
You know what I'm
But
talking about.
I'll remember. I remember when they started playing Kanye on the radio and how excited. Because remember, if you were a real hip hop nerd,
Yes, sir.
you knew about Kanye. Oh yeah, the guy who produces for 𝗏𝐿𝐴.
It was just
Yeah.
like
It was
just
like, oh, finally somebody.
they
from-
got it right.
They got it right.
They
That's how
got
you-
it
It's
right.
like
I
they
mean,
got it
even
right.
even when I heard
Yeah.
when back in '96 when Nas had "If I Rule the World" and everybody's like, "Oh man, this guy Nas is great." I was like, "Yeah, I found that out about 5 years ago
Yeah.
on the Zebrahead soundtrack and on Live at the Barbecue, and you guys are just now catching up." But at the same
Shout
time,
out to Large Professor.
I'm just glad to see, you're always glad to see somebody that you think is talented and who deserves it
It's dope, man.
get that shine.
That's that gift and the curse of being ahead of the curve, though.
Yeah.
Like, and I think a certain type of people experience that a lot. Like, I've seen a lot of waves come and go. I've seen stuff that we were into and kind of went somewhere else,
Yep.
and now people are just now coming around that curve.
Yep.
And like, you don't necessarily prosper from it like you should because everybody's not up on it.
Right.
But the people coming behind you are pretty much grabbing everybody.
Yeah.
Because now it seems like it's new.
Yeah, right.
So,
right,
I mean,
right.
like I said, being ahead of the curve sometimes it's like a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
shout
it's
out
it's kind of a weird
to
thing. I'm not sure
man.
if it's so much like this with hip hop, because you know, if you talk to a lot of cats who like indie rock, you know, they'll be like, well, I like Nirvana, you know, or Dinosaur Jr. or whoever. I liked them before the rest of you guys. And it's almost like there's a snobbery involved in that. And I do feel that sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, thanks for being late to the party. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm just so happy that someone I like is getting love.
We saw that a lot with Dilla when he passed.
Yeah. I felt some type of way about that, but I was like, at least people are into it. But I was like, it'd have been great if you guys
Oh, I know a lot of
were
late Dilla people.
were
lot
into it
of
when
late
he was
Dilla
producing
people.
for the Far Side in, you know, 95. That'd have been nice. if
Shit,
you
I was
wanted
late
that.
to Dilla.
But I'm talking about late.
I mean, I remember I got right up. Let me rephrase that without stuttering so much. You know,
I
ring
see
the
you.
bell on myself. I was really getting into Dilla right when he passed.
Okay.
Like the month Donuts came out, and right before that.
So you didn't really get into Slum or any of that?
I was just getting into Slum. I was
Okay,
just
all
getting
right.
into Slum and all
Or
that.
like Water for Chocolate.
Now, granted, I knew Dilla because Like Water for Chocolate has always been my favorite album.
I was there when he bought it.
But I don't remember. But I didn't
Remember
put
sitting
the
there
two.
thinking, oh yeah, Jay
This is
Dilla
Dilla.
killed it. Yeah, okay.
You know, like
No,
I was always
see
a
you.
huge Electric Circus fan. I still am an Electric Circus fan. One of the rare.
No,
But,
I mean that's. I always tell people if you saw the Electric Circus tour, you would have a different appreciation for the album.
See, the people I'm talking about though are the people that just like really, really try to gas him way after the fact. They don't know Slum Village. They don't know Donuts. They don't know Like Water. He did his research. He got into it later, but he still did his research and followed from there moving forward. There are people that have no idea who he is, and they're like, yeah, man, Dilla's one of the greatest. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know that he's one of the greatest. Like, come on, bruh.
I did so much research in between like 2004 and 2008. Like it was like overloaded. It was just like
when
back catalogs.
When I was in the Slum Village, and I can't even lie and say I was that. I used to read the credits, but I can't. Back then, it wasn't like, okay, we can read the credits and go look up and find 100 videos on YouTube about them, right?
Yeah.
So I still kept seeing the name, and I was doing Slum Village and all that.
And plus, he had multiple names too.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah,
a
it
lot
was-
of people would see JD and they were like, I
JD,
didn't know
Jancy,
Jermaine Dupri did
James,
this. You know.
Yeah, but what
Yeah,
helped me
exactly.
what helped me later was as technology evolved, I got a chance to watch interviews from people that were credible, and I just saw how they talked about 'em, like Busta Rhymes,
Busta,
Q-Tip,
Q-Tip,
all these-
Questlove.
Questlove, all these
Madlib.
cats talking about, yo, man, Dilla's process. Yo, I remember when I was at Dilla's crib, and it just reinforced, like, yo, this is the dude that was making all these dope beats that I kept hearing. You know what I'm saying?
Questlove stories are great. Erykah Badu's stories are great.
Yeah, like Quest.
Common stories are great.
Common
Quality's
they were
stories.
roommates, right? Like
Yeah.
shout out to Mike Spitz. He's got a picture of him when they were roommates, like making beats right off the kitchen.
In the kitchen
we
table.
saw that
Yeah, yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
Like that's dope, man. Like it was dope to hear all that. So yeah, Dilla's a fool, but we appreciate 𝐀𝐿 for winning that. Good looking out.
Good looking out.
Good looking out.
Yeah,
Good looking out on winning
gotta
a
show him
Pulitzer.
love, man.
That is blasphemous.
You know what? I can't even say nothing. That was perfect timing. Moving on, man.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I need to look that up. By the way,
Just add my own ad lib.
we see. We got to find that one too.
Hey, yo.
Shout out to the fly guy. But check this out, man. I want to throw this at you real quick. I've been seeing this a lot on my timeline. I've been seeing Beyonce versus Mike.
Hold on, what?
Performance. Oh, yes. This has become a topic. Who's the greatest performer?
You were holding this one back because you didn't talk about this one before, did you?
I just, you know what? I was
I
scrolling.
seen another comparison too while you had it.
Go ahead. I saw, all I'm seeing is Beyonce and Mike.
Well, I think we actually touched on this as far as Chris Brown taking that MJ title or whatnot.
Oh, yeah, we kind of, yeah, we
Can't
got
he just can't.
Nah.
Kind of messed it up.
He ain't got
But
the
as far
records.
as Beyonce on
Mike.
MJ level, nobody is on MJ level, man. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going. Well, you might be. I don't know. But I just remember seeing old footage of Michael Jackson, and he be in other countries, and people will be losing their minds when they see him on stage, passing out. I bet you people died from seeing Mike, man. Just like
they
just
got to the
from-
concert and had to be
we
immediately
ain't
carried
laughing.
off.
like
We ain't
had
laughing
had
at
a
the people
stroke.
that passed
straight
No,
away,
no.
but,
Hopefully nobody died, but
yeah.
we're not
But I
laughing
mean-
at that.
But I feel
I've
what
seen
he's saying.
I've
though.
seen people being carried out on stretchers in videos from Michael Jackson concerts.
Facts.
You know
This
what I'm
is a
saying?
fact.
Now Beyonce, I'm not about to talk bad about Beyonce because she has a whole what they call it, the beehive.
Boy,
They don't play no games.
They'll come in here right now if we
And
get to saying
this
the
is
wrong
not
thing.
any Beyonce slander. She's just not Mike.
But
But she does her thing.
This is the thing, though, and you have to, when you put it in this perspective. Somebody pointed this out to me earlier. You know, the Destiny's Child, the first album came out in 1998, which means Beyonce has had a run of 20 years where there's been no flops, no breakdowns. She has been essentially at the top of her game, to where it's almost like someone, like if you want to compare it to a boxer, she comes in and clears out the division every time she puts out an album. And she clears out the whole heavyweight division. It doesn't matter, and nobody has, they've tried. I mean, they've tried to have, hey, this will be the next Destiny's Child, and it's like, nah. This will be somebody who can be right up here with Beyonce. The closest maybe is Rihanna, but like compared to Beyonce,
Her stage show is not
to
Beyonce
see
level.
Beyonce, in the clips I've seen, to see someone sing and dance for 2 hours straight.
That's where I give her
Costume
credit.
changes.
Yeah,
Like if
that's
she's
cold.
not Mike, she's the closest thing we've ever seen.
Let me throw stat. I'm gonna throw some stats out here real quick.
Go
Just
ahead.
throw some numbers. So Beyonce 6 albums. They say 12 movies. I like that. 12 movies. This dude, man. 6 albums for Beyonce. 12 movies. Well, I don't know why they put movies in here. 10 tours.
Her movies aren't that good though.
20 Grammys. 34 Billboard Awards. Over 160 million records sold. So for Mike, 6 albums. All of his music is way colder than hers, for the record. I'm gonna throw that out there. I like
that but you know what?
Yeah,
that's depending on where
That's
you're coming
subjective,
from.
but for
It's
me-
subjective.
For me, she does not have a Thriller, sir. She
You
does
ain't
not have an off
qualified
the
to
wall,
ask.
sir. That's just me now.
Somebody would argue with you that Lemonade would
They're wrong.
at least stand
They're
with
wrong.
a off the wall
They're
or,
wrong.
or a bad.
They're wrong.
Here's where
someone would contend her second
hold on.
album.
Let me read Mike's stats, and I'm coming to you.
All right.
6 albums, 1 movie, 1 movie, 4 tours, 19 Grammys, but he sold 350 million.
You
He
can't
almost
compare it.
diamond.
it's a
But
different
you can't
era.
compare
It's a
it.
different era. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Lone. Go ahead.
I don't think that it makes any sense to compare them.
Huh? At all.
I don't think it's fair.
It's not fair.
Because
Is
it's
it
the same.
eras?
No, it's the same way. It's not fair to continually compare LeBron to Michael.
It doesn't make any sense.
See,
Doesn't
another
make any
Michael
sense.
you can't compare people to.
One, it's just
I want to know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
how can you compare anybody to Michael Jackson?
Mike changed the game, bruh.
Beyonce
and-
has it.
Michael.
This what I'm
hold
saying.
up, hold up.
Go
Mike,
ahead.
Go ahead,
Mike
go ahead.
was before.
Yeah.
Mike is the prototype, right?
No,
Mike advanced the prototype. I think James was a
Brown.
prototype.
Okay.
Mike
Let me-
advanced.
Yeah,
but I
but
see
you know
what?
what?
You're saying.
There
I
was-
see
there
where
was-
you're going, though.
superstar.
there was before
The
Thriller,
superstar.
and then there was after Thriller
Yeah.
in the music industry.
That's true.
Okay.
All
so
right, fair enough.
So
Go ahead.
Beyonce's entire career is built off of what came before her.
Facts.
That
The
doesn't.
path that was laid.
You don't take anything away from Beyonce. There's nobody like
The
Beyonce
lights
right
he
now.
was stepping on
Agreed.
going down the street. When he was going down the street and the lights was going off.
That
That's
never
the
happened
path
before.
he laid
That never happened before.
for
I
the
like
artists.
where you're going with that.
You know, it's just
Nobody
different.
was shooting videos like that.
Remember the Time is one of the greatest.
Before Remember the Time.
I'm talking about personally for me. Remember the Time is one of the coldest videos I've ever seen.
He
I
turned
remember
into gold
Yeah, I
dust.
remember being a kid, like
Blew
watching
away.
that.
It was. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to compare them. Like I don't. I think it's a dumb comparison.
I can respect it.
I'm just
but
gonna
I
stand on
feel
that.
like the
I can
people
respect
who
it.
have been standing real crazy for Michael and Prince, it's just because it's almost like to see something as excellent as Beyonce. Because I'm one of those people, but like I recognize excellence.
She's
when
dope.
I think
see
she
it.
belongs in. If there's a crew,
If there's a
Yeah,
those
conversation,
people,
yeah, she
she's
belongs
in there.
in the conversation.
she's in there.
She's in there.
But
no
and
doubt
the thing
about
is,
it.
she's got so much more to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's
Man.
not done. Like we can look at the totality of Michael Jackson's career, start and middle. We can't do that with Beyonce yet.
Yeah.
You know, so it's in the same thing with, unfortunately, with Prince, because they're no longer with us. You know, we can look at the totality of their impact in their careers. Beyonce isn't done.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to compare Lawrence Taylor to Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
Two different positions.
and you know, we're not
positions.
going to compare Michael Irvin to
Emmitt Smith.
or someone who's still playing right now.
Right. Well,
Like, just think about, like, you know, we've got the totality of Michael Irvin. We can say he's a Hall of Famer. He did it. He got 3 rings. He did it on the highest level. You know, Odell Beckham Jr., you know, his numbers are incredible, but he's not done.
Plus, Odell was out there. That's
Oh,
what
I
I heard.
see.
We ain't gonna talk.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
gonna get
I don't see how people be taking
Allegedly.
away Beyonce's talent level though, because there's a
She's-
lot of people to be hating on her.
Can I play?
I don't like her music, except for her last one was pretty
she's
decent.
she's.
I
But
bet you would go to her concert
I
and
would
enjoy
go.
yourself.
If she had the band with her, I'm definitely going.
Depends.
I'm a band geek. So if she had the band, I'm definitely going. Like what I saw at Coachella.
I know a scenario
I'm
that would
definitely
take you to
going
that concert.
Me too.
Uh-huh.
But
I like that. It's true friendship right there. I like that. She
which is why I said what I said.
Yeah.
yeah, she's dope though. Bottom line, but I don't think she has a catalog Mike got, man, from a musical standpoint.
No, I mean, Mike
Talent-
is Mike.
Performance and talent wise though, she's amazing.
But think about it. Just
She's
based on Destiny's Child, she's already in the Hall of Fame, and you're not even talking about her solo records yet.
Listen here, man. Until
But
I
at the same time, Michael Jackson was in the Hall of Fame based on what he did with his brothers.
Yeah.
So
there it is.
yeah,
So if we're going to talk about compare, they're really the only 2 artists that you can compare to each other. But like I said, Beyonce's not done.
Talon's part, she is definitely in the ballpark. She's in that room, wherever that room is. She's definitely
She's
in that
in
room.
the special
So,
room.
she's in the special room.
there's golden walls in it.
Platinum.
What else is in there?
There might be mirrors.
And
I feel like there's a lot of vanity
Frankincense,
in that. A lot of
myrrh,
vanity.
frankincense.
Yeah, a lot of
White
velvet.
roses.
A lot of velvet. Maybe cherry blossoms.
Cherry
peeled
blossom.
grapes.
Like,
Yeah.
but only when the cherry blossoms are in season, like in Japan and shit.
Right.
So the room is in Japan.
No, she brings Japan.
He
She
said,
brings
That's how
Japan
special the
with her.
room is.
Ah,
There's
okay,
Japanese
okay.
things in the
Yeah.
room, and it's not in
Okay.
Japan.
Okay.
But it feels like it could be, but it's not.
How many doors are in the room?
See, that's
Hella
the thing.
doors.
When you open a door, it just opens up to the same room.
Oh, I like the Matrix. All right, let me get back on my grind here.
Sword of Omens. Give me sight beyond sight.
Boy, that's classic
yeah.
right there. Shout out to Panther.
That's the door
All right.
beyond the door. You get
Yes,
it?
sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, right? So we talked about Cardi's album. We talked about the impact.
Yeah.
Why are we comparing them?
Here's a no. It's more about the reaction to Nicki dropped 2 records.
Oh, those duds.
You beat me to it. One.
Fizzle.
What is it? Chung-Li and I gotta look up the second one. Chung-Li.
Barbie Tings.
Barbie Tings.
I saw somebody posted on Twitter. It's like, yeah, well, her cover art's the best thing about
The
the
cover
song.
art was dope though. The cover art was
Can't
dope.
hate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to that Chung-Li cover.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
Definitely
so-
like that.
I didn't listen to it, so I have.
I don't
no-
think
I
she
have no
understood
opinion
when I
on it.
listened to this. I don't think she understands who Chun-Li is. I think she thought she was like the villain, or
I don't know because she
I
had her
don't
hair,
know.
She had her hair up like
I don't think she was supposed to be up on her nerdology as far as the
The
history of
wrong
Street
Chun-Li.
Fighter.
What's dude's name in Bloodsport?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No, the one that he was fighting at the end of Bloodsport. Was
Oh,
his name
The
Chun-Li?
swole Asian dude.
What was his
man.
name?
How,
His real name is
hold on,
Bolo.
man.
or
Wait,
something.
wait.
But what was his name in the movie?
I don't remember.
Hold on, let me look it up.
hold up.
His name might have been Chun-Li.
Jay Moore, wait.
Swole Asian
Wait,
dude.
hold on.
No, he is a big cat.
Let's
He's
wasn't
been
fucking with
whooping ass since the Bruce Lee era.
Definitely.
Jay
Yeah,
Moore.
yeah. He's been in the movies.
let's work on a different
Frank Dukes.
man. What was his name? No, I can't remember.
Hold up.
his
But he was
name.
like, "You're next," and it was clearly wasn't his voice.
That's
You're
Ray,
next.
That's the Salt in the
Jackson.
Eyes joint, right? I ain't seen this in so long.
Senzo Tanaka.
That's his
Okay.
name.
Okay.
Hold up.
Hey, he was a
No,
beast.
his name is Bolo.
Oh, Bolo.
Yeah.
Hold up. Oh, Chong Li.
He threw the
Oh,
salt in his
okay.
eyes, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
but
that
that's
it?
not what Nicki Minaj. She was thinking Chun-Li from Street Fighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He threw the salt in his eyes, right? At the end.
Yeah, something
Okay.
like
You're
that.
next.
Thank you, Terry.
Wasn't his friend Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds?
I thought it was.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
what?
Yeah. The guy who got beat up and put in the hospital. We have gone on a whole nother
We
tangent,
have.
but it's
Anyway.
I was just about to say.
Shouts to Ray
We
Jackson.
coming on. We see you. We coming on back around. Here's my thing. So with these 2 records, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always a. We talked about paying homage to, whoever's at the top or whatever. Jay Moore was talking about how she really tried to play Kim low key. Now I think she, from what I'm seeing, is in her feelings because Cardi B really isn't necessarily paying homage or bowing down. Nicki's a little bit older. So do we think that this rise with Cardi B and her success, which she's earned, is it getting close to being time for Nicki to find another lane and pretty much just drop a few more records and gracefully bow out? Or do you think, you know what I'm saying, the Barbs are still going to be rocking with her? Because these two records...
Simply because she didn't make hit records this time? Or
I mean, these two records have not been received well from what I'm seeing.
She hasn't really dropped anything really dope in the past few years, honestly. But... I don't know, man. It's one of those things where she should just leave it alone and befriend Cardi.
And just make dope records.
Because, like we were talking about before, what's her name? Remy Ma.
Remy Ma.
Has been doing her thing.
Quiet. Well, not quietly, but...
Not necessarily quietly.
But like she stepped away from the Sheether whole thing and just said, let me go ahead and put out these records.
Yeah, let me get focused.
She got focus.
Yeah.
She got focus.
And I mean, she still talks reckless here and there, but she's focusing on putting out product.
Yes.
Cardi B ain't thinking about Nicki Minaj.
At all.
You think when she was writing that album, she was thinking about Nicki? No,
man. I like that long.
Yeah. Nicki's thinking about her because she views her as a competition, because in hip hop, like I said last week, we shouldn't really have to compare the female artists to other female artists. You just compare them all to whoever's rapping.
Right.
But the way it's structured, it's always whatever female artist is out, you're supposed to be better than the other female artist that's out.
Woman.
Or woman. To be politically correct.
Yeah, you don't want to get problematic with
Good
that.
Catch,
Yeah.
Long.
Right.
Good catch, Long.
So it's just one of those things. Rhapsody's better than both of them at the end of the day.
Say it again just so I want to make sure they heard that.
Rhapsody is better than both of them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Like we said, Cardi B is a very likable individual.
Yeah. Great
and
personality.
She's not going anywhere. She's probably really not tripping off this music stuff because it's about to take her places that she never thought she was going anyway.
She was on Love and Hip Hop.
Right. She was just on Kimmel last week. Not Kimmel, but
was it Kimmel? Co-host with him or something for the first time?
Not
like
Kimmel.
Ever?
The other
Kimmel?
Jimmy.
Yeah, the other
Jimmy
Fallon. Yeah, she was on Fallon. So yeah, she's doing big things.
Securing the bag.
Well, I think, and this is just kind of another level to it that I haven't heard really brought up a lot, because they, when they do the tale of the tape, Cardi's 25, and really hip hop is always going to be a young person's sport.
Facts.
Okay, Nicki's 35, which unfortunately, like usually that's when they start looking to put you out to pasture, male and female artists a lot of times. And
Jay-Z and Nas are exceptions.
And
very good exceptions.
The really disappointing, and but this is across the board, not just with female artists. It's hard to grow up in hip hop, and it's really hard for women to grow up in hip hop.
Yeah, because you got to adapt and you got to still remain relevant. And I think that's what happened to LL Cool J too, because he was trying to adapt too hard. It just didn't work.
But he branched right on off though.
But when I hear Cardi B talking about her shoes and being in the club and this, that, and the third, and I'm with these dudes, like it doesn't sound crazy. That's what 25-year-old women do when they're out here making it, living their best life. But unfortunately, when you're 35 and you're now, when you're on the other side of 35, which means you're approaching 40, because those 5 years go very quick. Trust me, I know.
Look out now.
It's like, are you still rhyming about shoes and how you got more money than in making what I like to call stripper fight music? And so it's really hard because, like, this is the thing. It's hard to reheat cold French fries
unless you got an air fryer.
And I'm not saying that Nicki doesn't have an audience and she doesn't have a lane, but as someone, I'll tell you, who's in the clubs a lot, where you got to play the mainstream joints, like the last song Nicki had that really popped was Anaconda, and we're looking at 4 years ago.
Sir Mix-a-Lot got a nice check off that.
That whole project, that Pink Print project, the only other thing off there was, I think, Feeling Myself, and I thought that was a Beyonce song.
That was a Beyonce song.
So when you're talking about what's been popping in the club, Nicki's been gone for a minute. So for her to come back with these 2 songs, she needed to come back a lot harder because Cardi's got 5 or 6 joints right now that can be played at any time in the club, and they go off.
We got to stop it right there. We're going to get ready to wrap it up. Good conversation. Appreciate you coming over as always,
No
brother. Anything popping as we wrap up? Anybody
The
got
build
anything
is
going?
Thursday night.
Okay, the build Thursday.
Build Thursday.
We got anything popping?
Record store
Jay
day.
Diff? No, not right
Free
now.
this week.
Free this
Friday is there's a Bob Marley tribute.
Yeah, it's the
at
Icon Party.
Word.
It's going to be a lot of great live performances. DJ Indiana Jones holding that down. Old Soul Entertainment, you know what it is. And of course, tonight I will be at Tiki Bob's with DJ Gabby Love and Lemmy Vice. So see y'all out there.
Episode 77. We're gonna wrap it up there. Longevity DJ
Wrap
Jay
it up,
Diff.
B.
Jay Moore, I am Major 7. Shout out to my man Michael Anthony Red August.
Peace,
He's in the
Bulls.
building. And we will see you guys next week. Remember, visit us at Patreon. Shout out to Coleman Dental. No bad ideas.
Patreon.com/newoldhits.
Yes, sir. And we gone. Peace.
Let's get it.
New Old Hits.